Hello, my name is Charles Jones. I'm going to set out to tell you how we managed to find the Battle of Fulford. We didn't know where it was, so the very first thing we did was examine the literature in great detail, and then we set out to look at the landscape and reconstruct the landscape, because it was only in the context of that we could really begin to interpret what they said inside the literature. This involved drilling a very large number of holes in pretty appalling conditions often, but that was when the vegetation was most suitable for doing it. Once we'd managed to get all the material out, we were able to analyze and really understand how the landscape had looked by examining the various layers. We could see where there was hard clay, we could see where there was peat. This enabled us to identify one part of the old ford, and also allowed us to identify many features on the modern map which were consistent with what we'd discovered. Included in our research was a lot of air photographs and a lot of stuff called LiDAR, which allowed very subtle plotting of the terrain, which eventually resulted in us producing a map and very great details of the landscape of 1066. After we'd done that, we then set about trying to find items. We had very little hope because we didn't know where the battlefield was, exactly what we would find, so what we set out to do instead was just plot the density of all the items, which we did in a variety of different technical ways. We also covered a very large area because I keep repeating we didn't know where the battlefield was. It was only when the experts began to look at the items some few years after we'd finished gathering them that they began to notice a very large number of smithing hearth bottoms and a great number of tools, and we really had to look for an explanation for all of this stuff, particularly as all these things were found in very small assemblages dotted along the area where by now we had really come to believe that the battle took place. Particularly we found these billets, which were shaped lumps which we think had been forged well together on little anvils that we'd found. These came in various shapes and sizes. Popular ones were square, triangular were most popular, but we also found clearly identifiable shapes such as axe heads, and also we found quite a lot of arrowheads, and we found things like horseshoe nails and various other accoutrements associated with horse riding. We also found a collection of very small, what looked like first stage production of boat nails. Finally, we also located very nearby the reprocessing areas what appeared to be little stashes of items which were actually, we think, might have been ready to go into the reprocessing procedure because they look a little bit like broken up weapons. But sadly, we haven't been allowed to go back to the area, so we really can't confirm. We're still doing an area of speculation. But the result of all our work allows us to be extraordinarily confident about where the battlefield itself is located. These hearths really are remarkably small, and what was particularly interesting is that they lie right alongside the beck and very close to areas which recent flooding has allowed us to identify as places of where the water fell. We also decided that we should do quite a number of experiments, so we tried at one stage making charcoal very quickly because that was what happened at the time, and we succeeded. We also subjected all the material which we had identified to XRF to see if there were any modern alloying material. So we were left with this collection of hearths debris and all the bits and pieces around it, including a large number of tools. The best explanation we can offer is that they were reprocessing the stuff after the battle, and it fits so very well with the shape of the battle that all of the research pointed along to it being along the line of Germany-Beck. I hope that takes you a little bit nearer to understanding the evidence we have for this amazing battlefield.